Hello, and welcome to the Sacred Awareness Podcast. I'm your host, Angela Dawn. I'm a quantum healer, transformation coach, mystic, and channel of cosmic consciousness. Allow me to be your guide as we explore topics of metaphysics, consciousness, and just being a human during these expansive times for humanity. There's much to discover, so let's get exploring. Okay, today we're going to talk about beliefs. This will by no means be the only time we ever talk about beliefs, but there's an aspect of belief work that I've been working through recently, past couple months. And I'd really like to share this with you because maybe you found yourself here. Maybe not yet. Maybe you will. Maybe you never will. I'm going to share it anyway. So you can work through a core belief, but still not really know how you're supposed to act. It sounds a little bit odd, even as I say this out loud. Hear me out, though. I'm just going to share one of my own stories here because it'll make sense. It'll make sense. So I carried with me a belief. Now, I didn't only carry this belief, I bought and sold this as like truth, cosmic truth. Like I figured this is it. This has to be true. I built a whole identity around it. And that was the belief that I'm not enough. So one day, I was just minding my own business, standing in my kitchen, making myself a snack. And then all of a sudden, right before my eyes, and it's funny, I say I'm not visual, but here we are. I had all these flashes. And it was all of these times that I was told that I wasn't enough and believed it. It was all the times I told myself I wasn't enough and believed it. Things along those lines. Okay. So, as all of this was just coming into my awareness all at once, I heard a voice. And it's all it said. Something very simple. You know that's not true, right? That's it. That question was enough to put that doubt in my mind about something that I thought was true about me. Now, we're going to pause for a second. I just want to touch on self esteem. Do you know what your self esteem is actually based on? I'm going to tell you in case you don't know. Your self esteem is based on the things, generally the lies, if we're being honest, that other people tell you about who you are. Yep, your self esteem is based on the things other people have told you about who you are. And if you don't take the time to even ask if that's true, what do you think might happen? Now, keep in mind another thing. A lot of our core beliefs were actually installed by us when we're children, when we don't have the hindsight to actually say, oh, wait a minute, is that actually true? No, We have adults in our lives who I'm positive are not trying to be this destructive. Okay. We'll give everybody the benefit of the doubt that they are actually trying their best. Okay. But we have all of these people who are influential to us when we're small, telling us all of these things. And we are just like, oh, that must be true. That must be true. Oh, I must be bad. Okay. So back to this belief that I was talking about, this I'm not enough. And then it's just like, oh, well, that actually isn't true. There's a choice when you get to this point. Forgiveness and compassion, though, are going to be what I'm kind of what I'm getting a little bit of an image of is you're in an ocean, and all of a sudden there's these buoys. That's the word I was looking for. I knew I would get it eventually. Okay. So that's what all they are. Oh, there's a buoy of compassion. We're just going to rest on here for a minute so we don't drown. Okay. Compassion, forgiveness. We'll hang on to that one too. So for me, and if you find yourself this happening to you too, I will suggest to do this as well. If you've heard of Ho'oponopono, it's the I love you, please forgive me, thank you, I'm sorry. Okay. So all these things were flashing before my eyes. That's all I could repeat. I'm just ugly crying for, I swear, it felt like 20 minutes. Probably wasn't even that long. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm sorry to every person that I recognized. I tell you what, I'm sure this was not just from this life because there are people that I didn't even recognize. Clothing that seemed rather foreign in these little scenes that were just kind of right before my eyes, which tells me this was a deep one. This is this, yeah. She was a deep one. I've been working through this. I'm not enough. This whole worthiness construct. So anyway, where I'm going with this. So as these things were coming, I was clearing them out. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm coming under the realization that not only is that not true, I have always been enough and I will always be enough. Okay. So I tell you what, though, I can know wholeheartedly, 100%, with all my heart and soul that that was not true, but still not be any closer to knowing how somebody who believed in themselves acted. It sounds a little bit ridiculous. Maybe those are my judgments talking, and that gets to be okay too. But you can know something isn't true, but still not know how you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to carry yourself, how you're supposed to react. So, what I had to do was step back for a moment, zoom out, and ask, how does somebody who believes in themselves act? What is things that somebody believes in themselves say to themselves? What are thoughts somebody who believes in themselves has? What are behaviors they have? What's an attitude that they would encompass? Okay. So, what if you no longer had to seek out what your bottom belief was, what your core belief was that's holding you back? And instead of saying I'm blocked somehow, because I'll tell you something, the biggest block that you are ever going to come across is the one that you put in front of yourself when you say, I'm blocked. Because the words that we use and the thoughts that we have are the spells, sometimes the curses, that we place upon ourselves in our lives. Okay? Language matters and we need to be mindful of it. And we need to forgive the times that we weren't. and just choose new in the future. So, like I said, I knew all those things weren't true, but I wasn't any closer to actually getting to how do I act? How does somebody act who believes in themselves? Because I didn't know. I didn't know. Instead of shaming myself for not knowing, being the conscious creator that I came here to be, I'm going to make it up as I go. That's all you do. You just have to ask, well, what are the behaviors that I have to do? And then do them. What are the sacred actions of somebody who believes this? Find them, do them, fulfill them. Okay. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that. Where are you? Have you found yourself to be in a position like this? Have you found yourself to be creating the new habits? Creating the new habits. What if that's all that this is? What if you just had to create the new ones? That's it. What if you just had to create the new ones? And what if you could take the stress off of yourself that you don't need to actually come up with the core belief? You don't. No, I can feel some resistance with this, and that's okay. Try it on for size. If there's something that you feel has been holding you back as a block somehow, how would somebody act who doesn't hold that block? What are those habits? So I want to share one last thing. And it's actually, well, it was the quote that started my whole spiritual awakening. I know that sounds dramatic, but I can be a dramatic lady sometimes, and I can own that, and that gets to be okay. So it's from the book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And okay, just listen to this for a moment. Psychologists tell us that by the time we're in our mid 30s, our identity or personality, AKA our personal reality, personality, interesting way to look at it, will be completely formed. So this means that for those of us over 35, we have memorized a select set of behaviors, attitudes, beliefs, emotional reactions, habits, skills, associative memories, conditioned responses, and perceptions that are now subconsciously programmed within us. So, what does that mean? Well, basically, we think the same thoughts, feel the same feelings, react in identical ways, behave in the same manners, believe in the same dogmas, and perceive reality in the same ways. And about 95% of who we are by midlife is just a series of subconscious programs that have become automatic. Okay? What does that mean to you? To me, this means that I don't actually have to go out and search the bottom of something, when instead I can just embody the behaviors, the attitudes, the habits of whatever it is you actually want to believe that you feel is going to best support you on the next leg of your journey. Now, while all belief systems are just a bunch of BS, okay, 8 million of us, they're all different. I don't want you to take that and think that I mean that you don't need to believe in anything, because that is not helpful either. But what if you actually allowed your beliefs to be fluid, to only be there for the time that they are serving you, and the moment, the second, the millisecond, whatever you're using to measure this, that belief is no longer serving you, it is up to you to correct it. And you can just easily correct it by embodying the behaviors that you actually want to embody. So, going back to my example, I didn't know how somebody who believed in themselves acted. And I'm going to put one of my judgments out here, and I'm going to own this judgment. The people that I saw around me didn't really express that they believed in themselves either. So it's not like I could just go to my influential people in my life when they were definitely in behaviors that were holding them back, keeping them still, keeping them in a, if they weren't complaining about it as much as they were, this is where I'm getting my judgment from. Okay. So, anyway, that's enough about that. The takeaway: instead of looking at yourself like another weekend renovation project, just, oh no, knocking out things that you don't think work anymore, you revitalized what was there. You revamped what was there. You reinvigorated what was always there. What would happen? So, what if you took maybe 7 days? We'll take a nice week. It could be longer if you want, but I probably wouldn't go shorter. And just make a little case study of yourself and just see, are these behaviors the ones that are actually supporting the next leg of your journey? Maybe, maybe they aren't. But this is how you become the observer of your own life, by actually doing it. So, what if? What if you no longer had to search anything out, but rather embodied those behaviors? What would happen? How would your life change? Only you're going to know. Are you brave enough to find out? So, I will leave it at that. And I will see you next time. Happy hunting.